Welcome back to the Turn on the Music podcast. My name is Kyle. This is episode 25, and we are discussing measure 9, 10,
10.
10
Yeah.
of the music lesson by Victor Wooten. And that episode or measure is called Homecoming. This is Robert Randolph and the Family Band, Little Homecoming.
That's too funny.
Tuscaloosa, they got loose. They got lightning back dudes.
All right, anyway, sorry. We'll bring you back in the camera there.
That's all right.
This is episode 25, measure 10 of the Spirit of Music, rather. I think I said the music lesson, but the Spirit of Music by Victor Wooten, and the episode is Homecoming. But to discuss that, we have CJ here again. How are you, sir?
Doing all right. I'm getting through the week.
That is good.
It's been a week.
You're telling me.
Yeah.
The mosquito just flew by again.
Squirrel.
I saw it last week in my bathroom, and I tried to close the bathroom door and not go in there for a couple of days, thinking it might die in there.
But you don't think it could get out?
I'm sure it could, but I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, how's your week going? Other than it's going.
No, it's 2 long days because I had to stay a little bit later. Whatever. It is what it is. But it's just I took off tomorrow. We're recording on a Thursday night, and I took off the next day. I took off on the Friday. So when this comes out, that past Friday, it's my wife's birthday. So we're gonna take the day and celebrate.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be nice. So how about yourself?
Surviving. Just trying to survive.
I don't want to adult anymore.
I don't either.
I just want to retire.
Oh, my microphone just moved. Hang on. Yeah, I mean, it's been. So I was talking to a friend of mine. So for those that don't know, we missed our stream on Sunday because I had a friend staying with me, and we were talking about things like that. Like it's just like I don't want to do this anymore. Like
Right.
And I follow this guy on YouTube. His name is Calla Flodin or Floden. He's Swedish, and he was a marketing guy or a videographer or something. He was working in Stockholm, and one day he's like, "I'm done," and he bought this house in the forest, and he lives in the forest and does YouTube videos. Like that's all he does. It's like, but I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. It's chopping the wood and growing your own food and all this stuff. So I actually
Is that what the channel's about? Is him doing just living off the land
all
and
that stuff, and just talking about life and how how meditation's helped him, and how his life has changed by doing all of this. But some of it's the homesteading stuff. It's the growing the food and chopping the wood and walking through the forest and that sort of thing. And then there's just the general life lessons that he's learned over the time. So
is he married or is he single?
So he's got a girlfriend now. I think they're engaged.
Okay.
But he actually met her while doing this.
Oh, that's cool.
It's kind of weird.
So she's like on board with it.
Yeah, she's on board with it.
That's awesome. That's very cool.
But I find a lot of those things recently. Those, I want to live in the forest kind of people. And of course, YouTube serves them up to me. So it's obviously it's something I'm in.
Which is kind of funny that you want to live in the forest, but I'm going to put this all on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like I see, if I was going to live in the forest, I don't want to put myself on YouTube.
I don't know that I would want to do that, but it's like, how do you?
I understand he's doing it for monetary purposes, and he's probably making good money doing it, which is cool. I mean, it's like there's a guy who bought an old ghost town or whatever out west.
Yes, I've seen him too. Yeah.
I haven't watched. I want to watch some of them, a little bit more of them, but I think it's very interesting. He's really trying to bring it up, but he's living there. Like he bought it for nothing. He's living there, it's cool. It's a little freaky because what can happen, but it's cool that he was willing to do that. I think if I was at a different point in my life, it would be. I mean, with a wife and a kid, it's a little hard to do that stuff unless they're on board with it. That's a different story.
Exactly. Yeah.
You just have 3 dogs that you'd have to argue with.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they'll do what I tell them to do anyway. So
That's true. Go fetch dinner.
yes, I got the hunter over there. She'll catch me rabbits and squirrels and stuff. So
Do you have a pig to find truffles?
not yet,
That would be
but I
interesting.
could.
Yeah.
So
And your neighbor has chickens, just steal one of their chickens.
mm-hmm. Yep.
You can have your eggs.
Yep.
Be good.
Yeah. What I need.
What happened to my chicken? I have no idea.
Well, it's funny because she lost the chicken over the summer, and I'm pretty sure a hawk stole it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I'm not shocked that a hawk stole it
Mm-hmm.
because I know they can do it. I'm just
Yep.
it's more of the fact that it happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I mean,
I saw a hawk in her backyard one day, and I walked out, and it just flew. It was sitting in a tree, like looking at the chickens, and I was like, "Yeah, that's probably what happened."
it stinks that it happened to them, but I would have
Mm-hmm.
loved to seen that.
Oh, me too.
It would have been.
I would have had my camera out and
I
everything.
was
In
like, I was
fact,
gonna say.
if I didn't scare the hawk away and I saw it first, I probably would have grabbed the camera just to see what happened. But
That's too. It's funny. I saw a hawk on the way home today. Like their wingspan is ridiculous.
yeah,
And
depending
the
on the
fact that
kind
they
of
can
hawk it is.
coast. I'm sorry.
Depending on the kind of hawk it is.
Yeah, and the fact that they can like coast without having to flap their wings for this guy coast for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It
You
was
might have seen
impressive.
a turkey vulture. Turkey vultures do that a lot.
This
So
wasn't a
they'll
turkey
just kind
vulture.
of soar and
Yeah, no, this is definitely a hawk
okay.
because when it flew, I saw the colors of it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, turkey vultures.
So we have a lot of
Like, I'm not-
turkey vultures here. I've got like 3 or 4 of them that circle all the time. And where I used to live, there was like a wooded area nearby, and like I'd go outside, there'd be 30 or 40 of them just circling around. So creepy.
Yeah. Well, but so they're turkey vultures. Do we eat them for Thanksgiving?
No. No, you don't want to do that.
Are they delicious?
I doubt that.
I'm sure. No, yeah.
Yeah.
What are you listening to? Are you listening to any music?
Well, the manhunt is over as of yesterday. So we started getting back into some music. Let me pull up while I've got this. Let me see if I can
It's just amazing that like what can engross you and take you in.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying people in general, like how something can just grab you and take you in. Like when we were talking for the past 2 weeks, all you talked about was this manhunt.
Oh yeah.
But the
And
problem
that's all I
is I
listened
took
to.
that and I started talking to people at work. Like it becomes this thing. It's just like, are you
Yep.
serious? Yeah. No.
Yep. And I realized at work that I can go most of my office with my AirPods still connected to my laptop. So I'd have everything going, both live streams, the police scanners. And what killed me was they caught him at 8:16 yesterday in the morning, and I didn't have my AirPods in yet, monitoring the scanner, so I missed the whole thing.
Oh,
And
no.
at 9:30, I came and refreshed and went, "Oh my god, he's caught!" So so yeah. I don't know why this song popped into my head today, but it did. This is a song by the Government Mule, which has got Lauren Haynes as the lead singer, and it's got Les Claypool on the vocals as well and bass. This is called Greasy Granny's Go for Gravy.
The sun don't shine near the Iron River past the old church line. Lives a hot gal, smells a stale wine. We call her Greasy Granny. She's a hopped up, popped up NorCal witch. She's a slapped down, cranked out, two-ball bitch. She's stonewashed denim if she's wearing a stitch. We love our Greasy Granny.
Get your go for gravy from Greasy Granny. Separate your mind from your body.
And I talked with the mute button on for like 30
Well,
seconds.
I couldn't hear you, but I'm sure you got recorded.
I got it recorded over there, but it's not recorded on the video. So let me say that again. So I love Warren Haynes' voice, especially on this song. And this song somehow popped into my head today. I don't know why, but it did. So
Were you looking for a greasy granny?
no. But I have been saying just like funny words, and I think that's part of what this song is. It's just like weird words
Yeah.
stringed together, and
Yeah.
so yeah, that's what I mean. I've listened to that. I listened to some Monster Truck before you came on as well. So
Oh, I gotta go back and listen to
yeah,
that.
Monster Truck is good stuff.
I got a road trip at the end of November, and the last time I did it, I did like I think I did the Beatles for like 4 hours, and then I did Monster Truck. We got into that,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been on an audiobook kick, and I've like knocked out like 3 or 4 audiobooks in the past month, and um, this series that I'm on has 16 books, and they're all about like 15 hours each.
Oh wow.
But it's so good. We're not sponsored. I'm not like anything, but the author's name is Craig Allison. I think I mentioned this before, and it's a series called Expeditionary Force. And it's a sci-fi book type story with very like military esque feel to it, and it's just the guy R.C. Bray, who is the narrator, the voiceover, is phenomenal. And there's so many funny parts in it that I don't expect. There's an AI in it, and the interaction between the AI and the human is hysterical. Like, so I'm on the second book, and I'm just like, it's really good. Like, it just keeps getting better and better. And
Yeah.
it doesn't take like there's no like it's not like it takes place in the year 3000 or 3050. Like it takes place in like around this time,
Right.
which makes it even better because it's just very interesting. So I've been on that kick lately. Like I've been trying to like I bought I bought a bunch of this author's books on Apple Books for like 99 cents. Like he's got a zombie series, he's got this, but the same guy reads them all. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, cool. So I've been on an audiobook kick. I've been I think I need to make a playlist for work. I need to get back into
Mm-hmm.
because I can't really listen to audiobook while I'm working. I've tried and it's just
Yeah.
like my brain trying to type and listen is just not
Mm-hmm.
like, and if they start cursing, that goes into an email. And that's really bad when I send that to a vendor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay.
Yeah.
So shall we talk a little bit about the music lesson? The spirit of music.
So we both discussed prior to this. This is probably going to be one of our shorter episodes.
Yeah. It's
Because
a
this
very short
chapter,
chapter, and there's not much that goes on.
right? And we were thinking of combining, but the next chapter's so long,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we really shouldn't combine it.
Right.
But yeah, it's called Homie. You did a great job of summarizing. Why don't you go ahead and start it?
Yeah. So Victor realizes he's at his house. That's the chapter.
That's
I
the
mean,
chapter.
so yeah, so if you remember, we left Victor off. He was taken into a van, not down by the river, unfortunately. But sorry, trying to get to the beginning of the chapter. Why don't I just go use the index? Because you can get there a lot faster if you use the index. If the index actually loads. So there we go. Homecoming. There we go.
You're
So
good with technology.
I'm something all right. So the tagline for this is, in letting go, I found myself. Get to the blind mode. There's blind mode. Oh, better. I can see now. So yeah, so basically he was taken. So if you remember last chapter, he was in with Seiko and Ali, and they were taken by a man. They were actually approached by the man in headphones, and there was a part where they almost got taken by the man in the headphones, and then a van pulled up, and sorry, my microphone keeps falling. Oh, let's try that.
Microphone keeps falling on your head.
Yeah.
Microphone keeps falling.
So and then this van came up and grabbed Seiko and Ali, and they disappeared, and he kind of had to deal with that, trauma. And then eventually he was approached by another man with headphones and was eventually subdued by another man with a mask on and thrown into the back of a van and taken away. And he kind of at one point passed out, probably out of just exhaustion and just trauma of what was going on. So that's where this chapter picks up, and it's like I said, it's a very 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 short chapter, where he gets, he kind of comes to in the van a little bit, and then they pick him up out of the van, and he said it kind of sounded familiar, some familiar sounds, and um, was put onto a bed in a room, and he said at one point he even hummed a note and that he knew was G, and his mattress vibrated, and he knew that he was probably in his own house at this point. Um, so that kind of made me think, like, if I were to be put, blindfolded and put in my house, what would I do to figure out where I was? Like, is there something at my house that happens, or whatever? I can't think of any sound or thing that would. But I've only been here less than 2 years, so I don't know that I know the house that well enough yet.
That's a tough one. Like for me, I'm big on layout.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think if I was roaming the house in the dark, I'd be okay.
Yeah, but um,
You're talking more
I'm
of
talking like,
like
so.
based upon what he did.
Right, yeah,
That's a good question.
yeah. Because at this point he couldn't move, he couldn't stand up, he was too weak to move.
So
So
you're
it's like,
saying where? Yeah.
what would you, you know,
Well, my bed is a Tempur-Pedic, so I won't be able to get the springs to
right?
to
Yeah, mine's
resonate.
mine's a purple, so um,
So there goes that.
yeah.
Um,
I think
that's a
I'd
good
be able
question.
to feel the headboard, um, and the CPAP machine.
That's too funny. That's true. You would, yeah.
Yep.
I
So.
don't like the Tempur-Pedic mattress too much. I mean, it's fine. It doesn't hurt me or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. It's better for my wife, but I think I would know the bed just because of the fact that I'm not a big fan of it. So, like when I lay down on it, I'm just like, I do sleep. It's
Yeah.
comfortable. It's just
Mm-hmm.
I don't. It's too I think it's too firm of a mattress for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, which is funny because it's not supposed to be, but it is. And then during the winter, if it's cool, if it's cold in the room, it actually hardens.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's very interesting because I thought about that too. I'm like, for him to be able to hum, get the springs to kind of resonate
Mm-hmm.
and create that sound, it, it must be unique if it's the same sound. Because there's no guarantee that if you're on another bed with a different spring, that's going to do
Right.
the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just a little aside, that's how you tune a timpani, actually, by humming a note, and then you adjust the pitch of a timpani with that little pedal.
Right. Right. Right.
So
Right.
if you
Right.
hum the note that you want it to be, when you hit that note, the whole drum vibrates.
So you've hummed to vibrate the drum.
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yep. That way, because
Like I knew
a
the
lot of
pedal was for tuning, but I didn't realize that
right.
was the process.
So yeah, that's one of the easiest ways to do it, especially because when you're tuning a timpani, it's usually in the middle of a piece.
Hmm.
There's a lot of, like, pitch changes in the middle of a piece, and then you have to tune it quietly. That's one way to do it, is you can just feel the whole drum vibrate when you hit the right frequency. It's called
Oh,
sympathetic vibration.
that's very cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Drop some
So
knowledge.
yeah, he was in his bed. Well, he didn't realize it was his bed yet, but he kind of assumed that it was his bed. He had a knit hat over his head, and he was able to kind of move it off of his face a little bit, to kind of see his surroundings a little bit. And he recognized some things in the room. He saw his unicycle, which was kind of weird. The unicycle he had found when he looked for Jonathan, and heard some voices but couldn't decipher the voices, just kind of heard them. And eventually, at one point, let me see if I can find actually where it is. He heard or remembered the sound of Michael. Hang on, let me see if I can find. But there's one part I want to get to before we get to that, I think.
Well, that
Yes.
I don't
So
know if you
let's.
have pages, but that's page 152.
Okay.
And then 151 is where he says, I closed my eyes for the last time.
Okay. So before we get to that, just the tagline of this chapter is in letting go, I found myself. And I think that kind of goes to what we were talking about a little while ago. I think with Califladine, and so much of what I'm feeling lately, and I think you're feeling lately, and we've been feeling it for a while. It's almost like we're doing what we think society wants us to do, but not really what we feel is right.
Right.
You know,
Right.
we've talked a little bit about, just from, learning the aspect of learning, in the Native American culture and how it's different than ours, and how we've kind of lost that, I don't know, that spirituality and that sort of thing. And it's, for me, it feels like we're kind of looking for that, and I think part of this, what struck me about this is that in letting go, I found myself, you know, for me, it's almost like I want to let go of like society almost, just kind of let go of and there are a lot of people doing this, that they let go of there's the minimalist movement and letting go of possessions and that sort of thing and trying to live a simpler life and that sort, um, and I think that's part of what this is. I mean, in this instance, he's talking more about, letting go of fear and all that to find, clarity. But I think that's part of what what I'm looking to do too is let go of just stuff, and the burden of stuff.
Like get rid of the social normities,
Yeah,
normalities,
yeah,
right?
hmm
Normals, whatever. You know what I mean.
yeah. I
No,
know
but
what you mean.
seriously, like it's like taking what we, like you said, expected to do and saying, I don't have to do this. And
Right.
it's okay that I don't do this.
hmm
That doesn't make me a different person or a bad person or anything. It just makes me me because I
Right.
don't want to do this.
hmm
But it's hard to do because you get put into this. Like if you really think about it, I think about this more often than I probably talk about. You're living in a house, right? But in order for you to live in that house, you're working 5 days a week. And when I say house, I'm going to say home
hmm
because it could be anything. It could be an apartment, it could be a house, it could be
Yeah.
whatever. Like you're paying to live. So for anybody who is working to live, that's what you're doing. It's like, oh, I want a home. Okay, that means I have to get a job. For me to get a home, I have to have a job.
Right.
And the only way I can get that home is if I make a certain amount of money.
hmm
But there's no easy, like then you have to make a certain amount of money. That's what's the big other problem is that we live in such a society where it's like, oh, do you want that apartment? Oh, that's gonna cost you $2,000.
Right.
But it's a closet space. It's
Right.
like I
Yep.
and I think that's the thing is that we we're kind of backwards in that
hmm
sense.
Yeah.
In order for us to live, we have to work.
hmm
We should be living and just working because of that.
Right.
Just and it's very interesting because when you look at like we were talking about the sci-fi, like Star Trek,
hmm
right? There's no money in society on Earth after that all starts happening. Now, is there money within the realm of Star Trek? Yeah, I mean, there's always something, but
Right.
like on the planet Earth, they don't have that. And I don't know how it is in Star Wars. I mean, I know there's things in Star Wars where they're using to buy things, but
hmm
you know, but the thing is there's it's just crazy because you think about what you're doing in order to live,
Right.
which is why you have people that struggle.
hmm
It just stinks,
Yep.
and that idea of like living off the land and
hmm
just living on a place and just I'm good. I would do that. I would. If my wife and my son were like, let's just do it, I would be like, all right, let's go.
Yep.
Done. Done. Would I still do this? Yeah, I would still do the podcast because it's fun to do. But I'm
hmm
just saying, like in the grand scheme of things, I don't need to, and there's nothing against them. I don't need to have neighbors.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to. Uh,
hmm
I I interact with them so far and few between,
Yeah. Me too.
and it's nothing against them. It's just it just doesn't happen.
hmm
I can still connect with my friends. I mean, we connect all the time, and we're how many
Yeah.
states away?
Right.
So it's not like you can't have that interaction in this day and age. It's just. But I agree with you. I think we are trying to figure out where we fit in society without following society.
Right.
I think that's the way to put it.
Yep.
Where do we fit without having to fit?
hmm
and we're both big guys, so it's hard to fit sometimes.
That's right. Yep.
It's hard to find that space to get into.
Yep. Sure is.
So
Sorry.
that and they in the book they put that in just before he closes his eyes,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and then that's when he saw a vision of Michael's face.
Yep.
And and Michael says, "What are you choosing?"
Mm-hmm.
And he thinks it was his mind playing tricks on him and all that stuff. I don't have any choices. And he's like, you always have choices. And he's like, what do you mean? Who said that? And then he realized it was Michael.
Yep.
And he said he managed to move her the thing off he was able to like move the hat, and he saw that his door was slightly ajar. Like you said, he saw his unicycle and all that stuff. He saw light and shadows from the other room. Sound of footsteps growing louder as they got closer. And he said someone was standing outside his door. He waited, nothing happened. Bless you.
Thank you.
And he was able to open up. What does it say? After some time passed, he was able to move a little bit. He sat up, leaned forward, and then someone grabbed him from behind. He froze, turned his head slowly. It was the guy that grabbed him and put him in the van. And the guy goes, "Should I finish him?" And that's when he heard the voice, "Leave him alone. He's been through enough already."
Mm-hmm.
He said his voice came from the other side of the room, and he recognized the voice.
Yep.
And he said, "Why is he here?"
Yep.
And it's it's very interesting. I was wondering why this chapter was there.
Mm.
Like, why did he write a short chapter to explain this versus just adding a few paragraphs into the next chapter?
Right.
And I thought about it. And then I actually listened to it on the audiobook to hear him read it, because he's the one who's reading it. And I think in a sense, it's like him taking a break.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's been on the go for so long in the book. He's finally somewhere where he's laying down, and he's almost like accepting it. Like he's like, you know what? I can't do anything about it, so I'm going to take a break. So this is why this is a short chapter. This is just a brief moment of me kind of accepting who I am, at that moment.
That's interesting.
I'm not saying I'm right on that, but I was really trying to contemplate the reason for the short chapter.
And I guess if you think about it, like, the book as a whole could, it's an audiobook too, so you can think about it as the whole book being kind of an album or a concert even, and you have typically when you see a show like a Victor show or a Bella Fleck, the Flecktone show, the way they design the show is that it starts out, and it kind of builds and builds and builds, and then you hit intermission and there's a break. This is kind of like the intermission, and then it's going to kind of start up again.
Right. And that's
build up again.
Exactly.
So it might just be the musician in him, with that flow, that overall, flow. He's phrasing the energy essentially.
Right. And the thing is like, if you listen to the audiobook, there is music put throughout the book.
Mm-hmm.
So there is music within that chapter, and there is a point where he doesn't speak and there's just music playing, so it's almost like him processing what's going on.
Right.
So that is very possible. Is that what it is? So there's 20 chapters in the book, and this is chapter 10.
Yep.
So it is the intermission in a sense.
Yeah.
It's very, like, we could potentially be overthinking it, and it is what it is, but I feel like he doesn't just do things to do things.
There's almost always a thought behind or a process behind what he does.
Right. There's an intent
Yep.
or something. So the shortest chapter in the book.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Even in the audiobook, like the next few things are like 35, 40 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, so you guys got off easier this week. Next week it's going to be a 3-hour episode.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's a long thing.
Yeah.
So it is measure 11 and it's called First Lesson.
Yep.
So but this is really where the story starts to pick up and we start to
Mhm.
learn more about what they're dealing with.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
And then
learning how to deal with it.
NASA comes in and says that they found,
Yep.
otherworldly stuff. Have you seen okay, so I know this episode's gonna come out, it's probably like a week after, but have you seen the whole big thing about the
The alien bodies from
science?
Mexico.
Yes.
Yeah, I watched
I
a
very
short video about it yesterday.
it's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And someone said it's already debunked, but I
It
can't find the
is.
debunked from. Is it?
Yep.
How
So
did they debunk it? Because I couldn't find it.
I think it was 2021. What they did was they actually analyzed the bones that are in there, um, and they were able to kind of, based on the shape and the design, they realized that like the bones in the arm were actually bones from the leg, and they didn't match up. So like there was like a femur in one and a tibia.
Right.
Like this was a femur and then this was a tibia over here. So the bones didn't line up. And then they looked at the fingers, and the fingers were just bones that were sawed off, and they weren't even sawed off in the same direction, and they didn't line up
So
properly.
it
So
was a made alien.
yeah, pretty much.
Well, and I had I mean, I didn't go and like, oh, that's really cool. I did a little reading, and the guy that brought it up, the scientist or archaeologist brought it up, he's brought up a lot of claims,
Yep.
and every one of them has been debunked. So
Yes.
it was just inevitable that this one was going to be. It was just funny.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it was too funny.
So I actually watched the video about it last night. So
Yeah. I don't have anything else.
yeah, I don't either.
No. This is a nice short episode.
Mm-hmm.
You can listen to it for a few, take a breath, and then get ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be an easy one to edit.
Huh?
Be an
Easy
easy
one
one to edit.
3 hours later. So same thing as always. Every Friday and Sunday, we are on Twitch. Kyle goes live on Fridays at 8 o'clock. We go live on Sundays at 7:30. We've been playing the music of Victor Wooten. Past couple of weeks, we've played the music of Jimmy Buffett because he passed. And we're hoping that we don't have to do this again because there's been a few of them over the past couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Every Tuesday, these episodes drops, and we're very thankful for those who have been listening. We have officially hit, as we're recording this, 3,000 downloads of the podcast overall. So thank you to everyone who's been doing so and listening. Every Monday on YouTube, Kyle does put some video up of these. So basically, it's a video version of the podcast. So those who are listening, if you want to see the antics that happen on the camera, go check it out. They come out a few weeks after. On Fridays, Kyle puts up the shorts on YouTube, and they're pretty funny.
Some of them.
Some of them are. Some of them are just you hit your head and go, oh my gosh. But some of them are pretty funny. And then just check out our link tree in the show notes, and you get a whole bunch of other stuff. Our Twitter, or I should say X, our Instagram, our Discord, which we'd love to chat with you on Discord. So please join us there, and all that other good stuff. I got nothing else.
Me neither.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, let's call it an early day, a night,
Yeah.
whatever, and we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.